Member of the National Assembly of Seychelles, Honorable Kelisa Minade, Councillor Dr. Maria Osilia Inaverzi, Chief Executive Officer of the Industrial Estate Authority, Mrs. Delma Isiko, UNICE executive members, UNICE staff and students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Empowering Women, Empowering Futures, celebrating International Women's Day at the University of Seychelles. It is my distinct honor to serve as your host for this auspicious occasion. I am Anyana Maibo, an environmental science student of UNICE. I am deeply privileged to lead you through today's remarkable celebration of women's achievements and the relentless pursuit of gender equality. Before we proceed, let us take a moment to recognize the profound significance of International Women's Day and to acknowledge the strides made towards fostering inclusivity and empowerment. Today, we unite to honor the indomitable spirit of women, amplify their voices, and champion their invaluable contributions to society. I quote, "The question isn't who's going to let me, but it is who's going to stop me, Ayn Rand," unquote. I invite all of you to join us in watching 4 inspirational videos from powerful women in Seychelles, which will provide an overview of today's theme, Empowering Women, Empowering Futures.
In order for all of us to be in the place that we are now, and that is on our way to equality. As the spouse of a High Commissioner, hi everyone, we haven't met yet, but my name is Andrea Jappet, and I'm the wife of the British High Commissioner here in Seychelles. Today, it's a big day. Today, we celebrate International Women's Day, and with that, we celebrate all the successes and achievements that have been accomplished by women through the years and around the world, in order for all of us to be in the place that we are now, and that is on our way to equality. As the spouse of a High Commissioner, you may think that my life is full of privileges, but as good as it sounds, it also presents a unique and very big set of challenges and responsibilities. Being a High Commissioner spouse means constantly traveling, adapting to new cultures, languages, social expectations, and in most cases, leaving your job and career behind. It requires diplomacy, grace, resilience, and perseverance in the face of ever-changing environments. From navigating unfamiliar social circles to represent our country with poise and dignity, the role demands versatility and adaptability. Also, regardless of our marital status or societal roles, it is crucial that we cultivate our own success and final stability so we can have a life purpose, because that independence, potential, and worth, besides our relationship status, empowers us to pursue our passions, make tough decisions, and weather life's uncertainties with a lot of confidence. So, I'm talking to you here to tell you that as well as you, life has hit me not once, but many times. I've suffered, cried, and blamed myself, but somehow I got the strength and resilience to stand up again and keep trying. The world is tough, and you have to put yourself in the position to succeed, like all these women around the world that we're celebrating today. Nobody's going to call you and tell you you're incredible. You have to tell yourself you're incredible and make your path to success. You have to think that you're waking every morning in order to create a masterpiece. Believe in your greatness because you are great. And in your way to show people how great you are, don't forget to tell yourself that you are more than enough. But we have to remember that we as women have to believe and support each other's greatness because that's the only way that we're going to make it. We succeed as individuals, but as individuals that are part of a big team. It wasn't just one woman to reach all the achievements that we have today. So we are not alone in this tough world. I'm here, she's here, we are all here for you if you want us. And we hope to count on you when we need you. And finally, celebrating this day, just have in mind that we as women are not delicate. We are strong. We are not bitters. We are resilient. We are not scared. We are courageous. We are not sensitive. We live things with passion. We don't have silly ideas. We have big dreams. We don't clinch on anyone's success. We find our own glory. We don't depend on anyone. We depend on ourselves and we appreciate ourselves. We are committed and we are a big community. Happy Women's Day.
Je m'appelle Tania Isaac, mon adulte, mon a des enfants et mon cycle à l'Assemblée nationale. Mon plus pour sa occasion pour mon saluer tout le monde qui peut débrouiller dans le retour de la société, de la cour, de travail, de la communauté, de l'église, n'importe qui endroit. Nous apprécions les autres. Comme madame, par exemple, elle est des routes forts, le bagage qui voit là-dedans. Même si vous rencontrez des défis, continuez à rêver, de tomber, à cause de la vie, tout le temps, dans le moment haut et le moment bas. Ensemble, on doit maintenant, mais il va être fatigué, découragé et très cédé. En nous sincèrement, faire une action qui montre ça avec solidarité entre nous. À cause de notre vie, elles ne sont pas capables de l'état de la société. Ce moment, c'est l'occasion pour moi de dire bonne fête. Tout bon madame, c'est moi.
I would like to talk about the role of elderly ladies. I am a volunteer working for my government and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. But everybody can transmit tradition and knowledge to grandchildren. Always do something useful for society. Robert Baden-Powell told us to do every day something good for our family, friends, and person in need. Don't sit on the veranda waiting to die. Till the last day, spread love and compassion for our sisters and brothers. Bonne fête to bonne madame.
An empowered woman is a woman who knows her worth. She values herself, she values her body, she values her family and her possessions. She understands hardship and she strives to better herself. She does not accept mediocrity. She upholds the strongest values and carries herself with pride. Ladies, know your worth.
I am sure that these videos have inspired all of you women present today and to men who continuously support women. We shall now invite Ms. Naomi Vigot and Ms. Divya Pillay for their presentations.
Honorable Saminade, Councillor Rotasa, Mrs. Estico, CEO. All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome for our presentation. I am Naomi Figot, and this is my colleague Divya Pillay. I am from the Department of Health and Social Care, and she is from the Department of Business and Finance. And this morning we'll be having, it's not a presentation, but more of a reflection together about our theme, which is based on the UN theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. And this is the theme which has been proposed by the United Nations for discussions for this year. Happy Women's Day, all the ladies present. So during our presentation, this is just a brief agenda. So like I've said, it's more of a reflection. So we have taken the theme and we are going to explore it from our perspective, which is not necessarily, as we all know, there are different perspectives, there are different ways of looking at things, and this is our perspective of this theme. And we hope that later on, if there is the opportunity to discuss during the debate, during the panel discussions, and we also will have some thought-provoking questions throughout, just so that as we go along, we can explore together. So we'll look at what it means to invest in women. We'll look at the progress that have been done in this area, but we'll also look at some challenges and struggles. We'll first take a worldwide view of it, and then we'll look a little bit at the local context. And then to end, because we're talking about empowerment, we just briefly recap what empowerment is. And then one thing is to have a discussion, or again, proposing ideas about whether it is actually equality that we are looking for, or whether we are asking for equity. Because as we will see, there's a difference between the two. And again, this will be a question that each of us will have to answer rather than us proposing answers to this question. And then we'll come. So just to start, these are just some figures about what it means to be a woman in Seychelles in today's society. If we just look at some of the facts presented there. So according to the UN, we are considered to be a matriarchal society. And in Seychelles, according to the Afrobarometer, one of the surveys that they did in Seychelles, so one of the issues for women is gender-based violence. And then according to the census that was conducted in 2022, women in Seychelles had majority of households, and that's 55%. .9% of seats in parliament occupied by women. And if you look at the births that occurred in 2023, 12% were to girls, women aged less than 20. And if we look at the births registration at the civil status, we can see that 69% of babies are born in wedlock, 17% are born out of wedlock, but they are recognized. No, sorry, I mixed it up. So 17% born in wedlock, 69% born out of wedlock, but recognized by the father, and we have 14% not recognized by the father. So these are just some facts, and each one of us can have our interpretations of that, but I thought it was relevant to actually understand what it means when we look at some figures of Seychelles, what it is to be a female in Seychelles nowadays. So quickly, this person, Mali, she's a fictional person, and acknowledgement to AI for generating this picture of Mali with the help of one of my students. So we're just presenting Mali as we go through the discussions to just think of her and of the circumstances that we've presented around Mali. So she is 30 years old, she has a master's, and her dream ideally was to be a leader in the area of conservation. But she got married, she had a child, and now she's actually reconsidering the whole dream of whether she should pursue her career, because at the moment it involves living on the outer islands. So this is Mali for us, and keep her in mind as we go through the presentation. So some of the reflections that we can have is, what are the factors that have led her to this crossroad, where she feels that she has to make a decision between whether she pursues her career or whether she caters for her family. Are her concerns private concerns, personal, or are they social concerns? Are they embedded in a larger context? And we're talking about investments, so what sort of investment could we potentially have towards her if we are to help or support her in making a decision at this point? And we talk about empowerment, so does she need to be empowered? And if she needs to be empowered, in what ways should we be striving to empower her? So like I've said, just some points of reflection about a fictional person, like I've said, but I'm pretty sure something that is quite common if we ask around, look around. So now I invite my colleague Livia to talk a little bit more about the investment aspect. And afterwards, we'll be looking at some other psychosocial aspects of the investment as well.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Naomi. All protocols observed. I am here to discuss on the UN theme of Invest in Women and Accelerate Progress. Today's theme in UNICEF is Empowering Women, Empowering Futures, right? So, empowering women, what does it take? The UN calls for invest in women. So women, what is investment? What is investment? Investment could be you are investing your finance, you are investing your time, you're investing your energy into something that is going to return profits, make you beneficial, right? So when we are addressing the fact, empowering women, investment, it calls for investment. And that is the UN theme for 2024. So women empowerment isn't just about fairness and equality anymore. It's become the cornerstone of economic growth, social development, and environmental sustainability as well. Not just as workforce participants, but as leaders, innovators, caregivers, we know it all, the multiple roles that we've been playing. And despite these crucial roles in 2024, women still face significant challenges to full economic and social participation. I would like to pose two questions to the audience today. What is the key to unlocking our full economic potential? What is the key to unlocking our full economic potential is already within our reach. The first question, how much more could we benefit by ensuring women have equal opportunities, the same opportunities as men, and what contribution would that do to the society and the economy? In my slides, I would try to address the second part. The first part, I will come back to the audience once I'm done. So, how much will we benefit if we invest in women? The numbers are staggeringly high. Attaining gender equality is not only the right thing to do, it's become the smart thing to do. You can see, if we address gender equity, gender equality, gender parity issues, a staggering amount of 28 trillion US dollars could be saved, could be added to the GDP, and that is by 2025. And 2025 is not too far away. Contributing to this, less than 50% of working age women are in the labor market. A figure that's barely changed over the last century. Okay, we were in similar numbers back in 1995. We were in similar numbers. I'm really happy with the situation in Seychelles. It's different. Like when my colleague Naomi said, Seychelles is a matriarchal society. I've always been delighted to be a part, contributing to a matriarchal society, because I come from a heavily patriarchal society. The world and its economies doing anything, is the world and the economies doing anything about this gender gap? Are we working towards it? The answer is yes. Yes, we are definitely moving towards progress. But is it sufficient? Has it been sufficient is the question. We are still finding answers, and movement in the area has happened, but rather very slow. Throughout history, women have played crucial roles in shaping our world, from leading revolutions to pioneering scientific discoveries, yet their contributions have been overlooked or undervalued. Can we say progression and developments did not happen? Of course, the answer is no. A quick look into the history. You can see the granting of women's suffrage, the rights to vote back in 1893. And then the US proposes in 1963 the Equal Pay Acts. Can you imagine before the 1963 no one addressed the fact that women were not equally paid? In 1980, the New Marriage Act in China. China is again was heavily patriarchal in nature. In 2003, Japan government votes to fill more senior positions in the government at government levels. And 2017, not too long ago, 2017, Saudi Arabia lifts the ban on female drivers. So before 2017, Saudi Arabia did not have women driving. 2021, first woman sworn as vice president in the US. So where are we now? %24 less. Globally, women earn 24% less than men. These statistics are from 2020, very recent statistics. In 2024, women are earning 24% less than men. Today, and less than 20% of landholders are women. Less than 20% of landholders are women, but statistics also suggest that a staggeringly high percentage of women who are involved, it's women who are involved in agricultural work. They are involved in agricultural work, but the rights to own the land, it's less than 20%. It's worrying. And worldwide, more than 700 million women alive today were married before the age 18. Out of them, 250 million were married before 15. So what happens to their offspring? What happens to their daughters? Will they fall under the same trajectory? Even with substantial progress in achieving education, gender parity in the areas of education, You can see only 70 girls are enrolled for every 100 boys in tertiary level education in the sub-Saharan Africa. Regions very close to us. Economic investment. Investing in women. Economic investment is equal to economic empowerment. When women are empowered, they will be able to have control over their resources, their time, lives, and bodies, and will also be able to be involved in economic decision making. Am I telling these things are not already happening? Yes. Again, the pace at which these things are happening is the question here. Studies say that even women are empowered, even if they are empowered, it can lead to significant decline in poverty. And that is what we are all aiming for, right? The Sustainable Development Goals, they're aiming, one of the Sustainable Development Goals is eradicate poverty. And investing in women is the way forward. Social impact. So the economic impact of investing in women, you saw the numbers. It's 28 trillion US dollars. So the social impact, you can see countries in sub-Saharan Africa are doing well in reforms related to the workplace. How did this happen? It was because of the investment that's happened in women. 43 out of 48 economies, that's 90% in the region, prohibit discrimination in employment based on gender. So about 90% is a great number in the sub-Saharan region. And other social impacts of investing in women, stronger families are built because women are out there working, women are enlightened, women are exposed to new experiences, healthier generation, more equitable societies, more educated women, and this is what we are aiming to achieve. So this is Elizabeth. Elizabeth lives in Zambia. Elizabeth is a mother of 4 who has recently lost her husband, who used to be the sole breadwinner of the family. Through the efforts of USAID and microfinancing, investing in women, essentially, she has got a small sum, a $30, to grow her own produce, and she's selling the produce in the local market. She is confidently able to make a living. She is confidently able to send her kids to school. Elizabeth is confident that she will send all 4 of her kids to university, and this was a question mark before the enlightenment actually happened towards investing in women. Understanding the barriers. Gender-based violence, unpaid work. Okay, these are all common, very common terminologies we've been hearing during Women's Day for a long time. So unpaid domestic work and care is holding working women back. Much of it is from caring for children. With only 78 countries enacting equality living standards governing childcare services, what happens to the remaining of the countries? What happens to the rest of the countries? We have 195 countries, if I'm not wrong. Only 78 of them are investing in childcare services. This lopsided distribution of unpaid domestic work prevents women from participating in the labor market. Childcare has been repetitively one of the highest reasons why women do not participate in the labor force. You can see the numbers here. On average, women spend about 4.5 hours a day in unpaid domestic care. When compared to men, that's about a couple of hours. And this has been the tradition for a long time. Yeah? Only 47% of women participated in labor market compared to 74% of men. This is in the southern Western Asia and the northern parts of America. And in the sub-Saharan region, African region, again, the numbers are low. It's 30%. Imagine we have 100% women, and then only 30% are contributing to the labor market, which means only 30% are coming out of their homes to work. 70% are providing domestic care. So domestic care has been one of the major determinants and barriers preventing women from stepping outside. No cracks in the glass ceiling. So the glass ceiling has always been there, right from the times when we've addressed women's issues, when we've emphasized on women empowerment, we've been trying to break the glass ceiling. Has the crack happened? We've clearly not broken the glass ceiling. Has the crack happened? You can see here, only 28% of women are in the managerial positions. Globally, this is a global statistics. Only 18 of them in CEO positions, 25% of them in parliamentary seats. What about gender equality here? Where are we standing at? Women participate in education is on the rise worldwide. This is great. But only to know, slightly more than 35% of the world's STEM graduates. What is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So, yes, we are glad women are coming out to work, but how many of them are represented in skilled labor? That's again a question. Violence against women and girls remain a global issue. An estimated 137 women are killed by their intimate partners or family members every day. Laws to address domestic violence are not yet universally available, with only 153 countries having such laws. Again, if I'm not wrong, do we have 195 countries? And 155 of them, I'm glad they have laws supporting these things. But what about the remaining rest of the countries? They do not have laws supporting violence against women. We've got a long way to go. We definitely have a long way to go. Breaking the barriers is going to take time. But as individuals, I think it can happen from within. How can we do it? Through resources, jobs, time, security, and rights. These are few areas that development can happen from within immediately. When we talk about resources, the first thing that comes in mind, or the first thing that's been a challenge, are financial resources. Women-led micro, small, and medium-sized businesses are underfunded by USD 1.7 trillion, which means USD 7 trillion is required for women to lead their small businesses. Closing this gender gap will increase annual incomes by 12%. Addressing these gender gaps will create more employment opportunities. Addressing these gender gaps is going to make more women step out. Land, resources that are land, information and technology are still a dream for many women. Through jobs. Jobs that nurture freedom, equity, security and dignity. There's again the statistics here. Women are paid only 80 cents for every dollar that a man makes. In 2024, there's clear gender gap problems that we'll have to address. Investing in time. Profound gender disparities when it comes to unpaid care have been a drive of inequality, restricting women's time in education, work, public life, rest, and leisure. Okay? So investing in women will enable women to get their dream education, will enable women to relax, will enable women to indulge in some leisure activities. This is a dream for many of them. And you can see the monetary value of unpaid care globally is 10.8 USD, 10.8 trillion US dollars. The numbers are staggering. When I was reading for this presentation, I was mind blown from what I was seeing. Security and rights. Again, going back to the old conversations about gender-based violence, conflict, food security, and lack of social protection are some of the things that organizations, families need to be talking about. 614 million women and girls living in conflict-affected areas. What is going to happen to them? In conflict-affected areas, the laws are very minimal when it comes to women's rights and women's security, women's protection. What are the big four companies doing about it? Are organizations that employ women acting on it? What are they doing? There are very many companies that do great in this particular area of trying to empower women. A few MNCs here. The Coca-Cola company. Apart from striving for a gender-balanced workplace, they strongly believe in investing in women is a way forward. 50% driven by women. The workforce in Coca-Cola is 50% driven by women. Gender-neutral parental leaves. That is a dream. Gender-neutral parental leaves. Imagine what difference it would make to a mother who has just given birth if the dad is going to stick around over 2 weeks. Google focuses on creating women tech makers because their area is technology. They're focusing on creating women tech makers to build scale solutions for women's safety online. Johnson & Johnson, exclusive programs for improving the economic and reproductive health of adolescent girls, globally focusing on developing and marginalized societies. And Abbott has started a downloadable Shaping the Future STEM. STEM again, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So there's a clear sign that presence of women in the area of STEM is below 30%. Abbott has come up with a strategy to address the issue. I'm going to go back to my first question. The second question, how much benefits can we get? I've touched base on the slides. My first question, what if the potential to unlock What if the potential to unlock is just within our reach? What are the potentials that you see here? Is the potential to unlock within our reach? It's a question for the audience. Is the potential within our reach? Yes? No? I know you guys saw some big numbers here. But is there potential? Is the potential within our reach is my question.
I think we need to first define what potential is in terms of women
Mhm.
in society. So from there on, people would I think you need to define what you mean by potential, because potential can mean anything to anyone. And from there on, maybe we can ascertain whether that potential is within our reach. Because I think it also varies for different societies as well. Thank you.
Thank you. The answer is definitely yes. It is within our reach. It could be a simple investment that you contribute towards a microfunding through crowdfunding, or it could be through big investments to our daughters, granddaughters, friends, and communities, immediate communities. Thank you. I would invite my colleague Naomi.
Thank you, Divya. In discussion with the organizing committee, with the Students' Council, we have to make a slight change to our program. So we will pause the presentation now because one of the members of the panel is going to have to leave by 10:30. So we'll pause the presentation, we'll have the panel, and after the panel, then we'll continue with the rest of the presentation. Thank you for your understanding about that.
Thank you, ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to be joined by esteemed panel members who will share their experience and expertise with us, guiding us towards a future of equality and empowerment. Today's panelists are Honorable Kelly Saminade, Ms. Isis Rat, and Mrs. Diana Iti. Each panel discussion will be followed by an interactive question and answer session, providing you with the opportunity to engage directly with our esteemed panelists. I encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, and contribute to the dialogue.
Distinguished guests, esteemed panelists, welcome to the panel discussion. My name is Darius Petrus, and it is with great reverence that I assume the role of the moderator for today. I will now invite the panelists forward to take a seat. Before we begin, let us take a moment to recognize and celebrate the remarkable achievement of women around the world. Today, we come together to honor the resilience, leadership, and their contribution to society. Throughout history, women have played a pivotal role in shaping our communities, breaking barriers, and driving positive change. Today, we have the privilege of hearing these esteemed panelists who will share their experience, insight, and wisdom on a ranging range of topics. I will now invite the panelists to introduce themselves. We'll start with Honorable Member.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Sarinade. I'm the elected member for the District of Pukab and also an alumni of the University of Seychelles. I've studied here for 3 years, from 2016 to 2019. And it's a pleasure for me to be here with you today. Thank you. I studied licence de français.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy Women's Day. My name is Isis. I'm 30 years old. I'm an alumni of University of Seychelles. I studied in economics and finance. I have a degree, and I graduated in 2016. Today, I am a business owner. I am a director of a company, and I also, in total, I manage 5 different businesses. So it's quite hectic on my side. Jack of all trade, we between from florist, construction, it's a different field. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Women's Day to all the ladies. My name is Diana Inchip. I am 33 years old. I am a staff of UNICEF and also an alumni of UNICEF. I first joined UNICEF in 2010 as a second cohort to join the newly opened university. I did a first degree in business administration from the University of London, and at the same time I did a first degree in tourism and hospitality with the University of Virginia. And then I started working here in 2015 as a quality assurance officer. And then in 2016, I enrolled in a master's in sustainable tourism management here with UNICEF. And I graduated in 2018. And to date, I'm the director leading the quality assurance office. And I'm pleased to be with this one. Thank you.
Beautiful. We will start now. The first theme we're going to discuss is empowerment. To you panelists, what does empowerment signify in each one of you? How has your experience or how have you absorbed its transformative effect in your personal and professional endeavors?
To me, empowerment is having a solid support system. When someone feels empowered, it means that his or her surrounding environment is supportive. The person is getting all the encouragement needed to be able to push his or her goals forward. So standing here today, I can say that I have had a good support system. I've been feeling empowered for quite a long time now. While I was studying, I got encouraged by my teachers, my colleagues, my family, friends, and today my support system is bigger, and it's a very difficult job that I'm doing. It's very challenging, challenges every day. Sometimes you don't sleep. You go to bed with carrying heavy loads of people's problems on your shoulders, but with encouragement, support, you don't feel discouraged. And I face empowerment every day just by a slight hello. How are you? How are you doing? I'm just checking up on you. Is feeling empowered. So whatever way someone feels that their support system is being solidified, is feeling and being empowered. So yeah, this is my definition of empowerment.
Ms. Lam.
Thank you. I believe that I echo two of the words that the Honorable has just said. But I also believe that empowerment comes within. It comes from you. Having the self-confidence, believing in yourself, believing in your abilities, believing in the skills, the thing that you have, that you possess, that you've been blessed with. And then once you feel empowered by this, it gives you now the strength to empower others around you. And then it's like whatever you send into the universe comes back to you. So also in terms of, like you said, the environment where you come from, the family you come from, the people around you, the way you've been treated, the way you've been encouraged and everything, all of this builds into this, what we call the empowerment that we carry with it, and then we just spread it around us. So,
I think everything has been said. I'm trying to think of something else.
You know, but it's exactly what we have said. It comes from first within yourself, and it comes from your family first. Like you need to, where you are waking up, where you are sleeping every night, and before going out to the world, you need to have that support group, you need to have that empowerment. So it comes within you and your family first for you to be able, and then within yourself for you to connect out with everybody else.
I've got another question just to put. How is it important, mentorship in developing leadership skills? Or how has it made you a role model in your leadership journey? As you know, you stated that you were in business, you did economics and finance. Now you are completely in a different field, I would say. How has that helped you in the leadership position you are today?
I will not say that it's a completely different world, because what I've studied economics and finance, and this is our everyday life. So it's about money, and money, you need money every day for you to be able to get a living. And everything revolves about the economy. So the demand and supply of your business. So you have to understand, for me, it's a very good privilege that I managed to complete my studies in that particular field. Because now, instead of being an economist in a bank, I am being my own economist for my own companies. So I would say that the degree itself, it was very tough. And I think my leadership skills has been, I have been groomed from a very, very young age. It's because of the way my family has brought me up. My family, I've never known my mom or my dad being employed. They have always been self-employed. And I have always seen them struggle to have their own business. Like they say to get your own business, but they do not tell you the struggles behind having your own business. Like when you come and you have a job, you are employed, you come, you work 8 to 4, you go back home, and you don't have, most of the people that are employed do not take that worry back home unless you are at a really high level in that company. But when you have your own business, it doesn't stop. Even if you go to sleep, your mind keeps working because the worry, the responsibility, everything is on you. So I have been groomed from a very young age, even the way we had to go to work with our parents. I have a son, he's going to be 7. And just last night, we were talking about how Isham and I, we were working at his age. And this, I can see it now in his childhood because he is living in that same environment that I live in. And this is where I found myself a leader since when I was a child. So I have been growing through that parkour until now, and to the university, and then you get out to face the world, now you become the real leader.
Another question to Diana. as a successful woman in your field, what are the responsibilities that you feel to empower and to uplift other women in the community and in your job per se? The qualities that you need.
Very interesting question. In terms of qualities, as I need first you have to be true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself, and you need to have principles as well. You need to be hardworking, and also this is one thing that is a bit personal, but I'm working on it. Is always be willing to take a risk. Always be, we tend to, at times as women, we tend to like focus on guarantee. Like, if I open the door, I do expect that somebody will be there waiting for me. I call somebody to wait for me. But then it could be that when you get there, that person is not there. There's this reassurance, and you always want that reassurance. But I actually need to put your reassurance aside to be able to move forward. And also because this is what will be the barrier between you and achieving what you need to achieve.
Another question for you is, what are some of the common barriers that you face currently as a member of parliament in your professional life, in your personal life, and how do you overcome them?
Okay, in my professional life, there is only one major barrier that I face every day, then this is people expectations. People have very, very high expectations, and you question yourself every day, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to deal with that? But the target that I set every day is to not make promises. Do not make promises that you cannot keep. Because if you make a promise that you cannot keep, this will end back in your court afterwards. The people will say, Honorable said this, and now I'm disappointed, she's a liar, things like that. So the biggest target that I set every day is to not make promises. I tell people that I will handle your issue to the best of my ability, but I'm not promising you that I will make it happen the way that you want it to. I will try to solve your issue, but do not expect that it will end up 100% to your expectation, because everything has its processes, everything has its own. You go to a ministry, they have their own policy on how to handle something. You go to a different ministry, a different department, they have their own policy on how to handle an issue. So you have to do things by the books. Do not make a promise that you know will go against the policy of a certain department or a certain ministry. And on a personal basis, I have one son. He's 15 years old. He's a teenager, and it's quite a struggle every day. And I wonder how parents with more than one child deal with teenage child issues. And it's very challenging with the work that I'm doing. And I see myself constantly repeating things that I have from January to December, repeating the same thing every day. And sometimes I feel like I want to give up. Sometimes I close the door and I cry and I pray and I ask the Lord to help me until 2025, because it's not easy. But in the end, when I look at Him, I see love, I see support. He empowers me in many ways that He can. He gives me more encouragement than discouragement. So yeah, it's difficult, but easy at the same time. Yeah.
I know him personally. And another question is, what role can men play in breaking those barriers and promoting gender equality in society? That's for you, Isis, and for the
Okay. There's something I want to point out first. We are talking about equality, right? And I personally believe that there is only a certain extent that we can reach equality between women and men. I, as a woman, I do not wish for us women to lose respect for men, because I would speak as a mother. I have realized that no matter how much you do for your child, you will never be able to replace the father's love. So, you will do everything, trust me, you will do everything in your power as a woman, and you think that you are doing enough. But one day you will realize that a father figure, you will never be able to replace this. Maybe a lot of people that do not have a child, but a lot of people, especially here in Seychelles, we have a lot of broken families, and we have a lot of children that is living without a dad. So I do not wish to have a society that a woman is replacing all those roles because in the past, women didn't have a lot of roles in the society. We couldn't vote. I was not even born. But gradually, we are getting to those positions. We are being president, we have a lot of ministers in the cabinet, lawyers, everywhere. But to what extent that we really want to rule out men, let's say in the construction field? How many women, if we really think about that, how many women are we gonna see in the construction field? Like as a masonry, in the field work. So if you really think about it, men will still have their role in the society. And we have to respect both women and men. This is my point of view.
The question was, what role men can do to help women?
Yeah, what role can men play in breaking down barriers and promoting gender equality in the workplace? What role can they do?
Okay, so I come from, in my workplace, we are 6 women out of 19 men. So you can literally picturing, how do they do with all these men? Well, we get to expand all our potentials in these men because they encourage us to express ourselves freely. We work in parliament, of course, and obviously you represent a community, and we are not pressured in any way to say what we don't want to say. If you follow well the assembly, we have various women in our assembly who have very strong voices. And if I will switch from the assembly to the community where I stand, I have more men behind me than women, actually. How can I put, Darius is a man behind me. He's my clerk. Besides being a student here, he's my clerk. And he encourages me a lot. He pushes me a lot. And yeah, men are very important for our professional growth. And I thank every man who stands by me every day, who encourages me in whatever way they can. And yeah.
It's quite a topical in regards to equality, gender equality, and I agree with what Isis says in terms of the role of men in our lives, especially when we are kids growing up. I do come from a family with just a mom, but she did like Isis said, like everything she could in her power, but you could feel that there was this void of the father figure. And I think this is one of the reasons why at school I had more boy friends than girl friends. And like you tend to say with girls, there's a lot of cocker and drama every now and then. And but with the boys, it was some kind different, and they support in a different way than the girls normally would. And they would always be the one like encouraging you for things that maybe you're scared of doing. I remember like jumping and swinging at the jetty. It's the boys who encourage me to jump at the jetty when I shouldn't be. But it like they kind of bring out something from within you that you don't know that you have. I'm not saying that girls don't, but it's just in a different way that the boys does. And in terms of relationship or in terms of work, it's just sad that most of the men have really like so many girls and women down. They have not made up enough in a way to the role, to the responsibilities. That's why now women feel like we are superheroes, we can do everything by ourselves. When actually let us look at reality in the face, we can't. And I mean, I'm not discriminating or downgrading women. We are very strong. God created us strong. But we have to admit that we do need men as well. Thank you.
Interesting. Last but not least, let us delve into the unique aspect of the choosing of the University of Seychelles and its reflection on its 50th anniversary. What drew you to this institution, and how has your experience here influenced your personal and professional growth? And furthermore, how do you think the university has come in the past 15 years, and what do you envision for the future of the university? We'll start with you.
When I joined the University of Seychelles in 2016, I was a mother with a young child, and I always wanted to go to university, and it was a pleasure for me to attend a local university because I would not be leaving my family behind. I had to give my child all the support that he could get because he was starting school and everything. And being here at UNICE and going home in the evening was good for me because I got to see my family. I got to see my friends during the weekends. I got to live my life, not missing out on anything happening here. And I got to participate in activities that I could do outside of the university here in Seychelles. So it was to an advantage for me. And being here at UNICE, I could say was it was one of the most memorable. It was the most memorable journey of my life, I could say. I was very much engaged at the university. I participated in most activities. You would see me doing MC. You would see me with the staff during induction. I would hang out with Dolivet and Petra and Monica and Prema. Everybody knew me here. So, and of course, I had to balance my studies with the activities that I took part in at the university. And I also got the chance to go overseas with the university. I went on an exchange program in Sweden for 3 months, and it was quite an experience for me. And I thank the university for having given me the opportunity to venture outside of the University of Seychelles, and I got to experience university life overseas for a short time, but it was an enjoyable moment for me. And of course, the prestigious moment for me was when I came on stage here in 2019 to receive my degree. And I also came out with the Dean's Award, which to me proved that what I was doing during these 3 years was being recognized by the university itself. And I thank everyone for this enjoyable journey. It was really memorable. If I could come back, if I would go back in time, I definitely would choose to come back here again. And everywhere I go, I encourage young people willing to go to university level. I encourage them to come here, and I explain to them on the advantages that I explain to them on the advantages of coming to University of Seychelles rather than going overseas. So yeah, thank you University of Seychelles, and thank you again today for inviting me here to deliberate, to give my experience on Women's Day on University of Seychelles and continue to engage with the society. It's really being appreciated, especially by me. Thank you.
For me, it started, I wanted to do economics and mathematics, but then the NHRC, they didn't have the course. The only course that was available was economics and finance. And this was being available here in Seychelles by the University of London. But that was the best decision. I didn't want to stay in Seychelles, but I could not go out of the country because I had all of the businesses that I was already in. My life is a balance. I still have to balance, even I have to go to school, I still have to balance when I go back to study, to do my work, and to make sure that the businesses are still running. So University of Seychelles was the best decision. I could stay with my family, and that's the most important because I needed support. It was very overwhelming. It's still, and it's more overwhelming, my life. And this is why I will still prefer, if I would choose to do another degree, to still do it here in Seychelles. I had a great time, though a tough time here because I was at a point, we started, the course was 7, I think Mr. Bandara, my lecturer, would recall that. We started 7 of us in the course, and then I ended up alone to finish the course. So I started having colleagues and being able to battle the tough course together, and then I saw myself alone with the lecturer, trying to figure out what is in that textbook, going back. So at a point, it was really, it was tough because there was nobody else doing that course. It was just me, and I had, my best friends was my lecturers. They were my best friends, and I had to go back to them, and I had to make a lot of extra effort for me to be able to do the course 3 years in one go. And for me, my moment was coming here on that stage, being the only one being able to pass that course in 3 years straight. And this is something that you will look back, even though I'm 100 years old, let's say, I don't understand. And I will look back and I will still be proud of that moment because I know all the struggles that I've been through to get to where I am today. It's not just because when you are studying, it's like you were saying, you have a lot of other struggles. It's not just, the course is difficult itself, it's tough. It requires a lot of time for you to be able to make it. And then you have to deal with everything else that is going around you. And for you to be able to go up there and get your certificate, this is just the moment that you want to make it happen. So for me, I wish this moment happens to a lot of Seychellois. This is my wish for the University of Seychelles, so that they can get all of the past experiences like
I am so proud today that you chose me to come to give my views, to give my experience of being here at the university, because maybe a lot of students will think that, you know, even there's 2 of us, there's 3 of us, I was one in a class and I made it. It all depends on you. You make it happen for yourself and nobody else. Everybody else is here as a support for you. They will tell you, they will advise you, and in the end, you make your decision on what you want in your life. So it all starts with you.
Talk about determination. This is an example of it.
Thank you. For me, it has been quite a journey.
Haven't left.
Actually, what is quite interesting is I've been at Australia for as long as I can remember. I come actually from Nadi. And you know, being on Nadi at that time, we didn't get the same opportunities at school as other students on Mahi, especially like with ballet, dancing, you name it. But I think it was kind of a motivation for us, students coming from Nadi, to like, we really want to go, we really want to be out there and make the people from Nadi proud as well. And then when you see all the other students before you that has gone to Mahi for the studies, and at that time they didn't have UNICEF, so they went for studies abroad. And we didn't have Facebook or whatever it is, WhatsApp, to get their pictures. But then when you see them coming back, and you feel inspired. So it was kind of a push for me, like I want to go to university. It was in my mind that I was going to university abroad. So 2008, in 2008, I started my A-level. So that's why I say I've always been at Onsoya. I did my A-level, I stayed at Coastal, still at Onsoya, for 2 years. Then after that, I remember I applied for, I wasn't sure if I was going to get a scholarship because A-level was quite tough. And I remember when getting into A-level, Michelle told me, getting into A-level is easy. Staying in A-level, it requires a lot of work. It's not going to be easy. So I tried and I did qualify for my scholarship. And even before I got the result, I remember I applied for STA to do the ADHM. At that time, I said, okay, if I don't get a scholarship, I'll go for the ADHM. Then I remember I got a call from Miss Burma saying that I've successfully been accepted at UNICEF, but I don't recall sending my application to UNICEF. It was sent to STA. So it was from STA that sent it to UNICEF at that time. And there was just the first cohort 2009, so we became the second cohort 2010. And I think we were the only cohort that actually did 2 degrees at the same time. Yes, it was tough. One was in English, one was in French. Just imagine. I remember sleeping here at UNICEF. The security thought I was actually studying. Actually, I was sleeping. I remember in everyone, I brought in my pillow and my carpet. I set it down at the end of the room. I went to the toilet, washed my face. I think I left home on a Friday evening, slept here at UNICEF just to be able to finish my thesis of 80 pages in French. And then I would go back home on a Sunday, but all in all, it was worth it. It worth it all. And then I graduated just like the others in 2014. We also got the chance to do a 3-month experience in Paris, in hotels. There were 15 of us, so being a group, it was quite helpful. We didn't feel so alone, we encouraged each other. And then I started working as a quality assurance officer. But before I got the post of quality assurance officer, I have to say it was quite a bit difficult to get a job after my graduation in 2014. I remember sending CVs. I haven't had the interview yet, but I was told if I'm not successful. I didn't really let this bring me down. I continued, I pursued, and I got a post here at UNICEF. And then in 2016, I got approached that they're offering the master's, and I qualified for the master's, which is a continuation of the first degree. So I did the master's in sustainable tourism management for 2 years. Within that 2 years, I became pregnant with my first and only daughter. So that's another challenge as well. And but I had a very good support system, especially my mom. I will never be able to repay her, of course, and my husband as well, and the colleagues I had. But it was quite a journey here at UNICEF because I had quite a, how do you say this? Quite a strong team and support behind me, the lecturers, the staff, and I felt like a family, and even today I'm still part of the family as a staff. And I will always, even there are the ups and downs, UNICEF is not perfect. And mind you, even though we hear all these big names, University of London, University of Paris, and so you'll be surprised by how much we as UNICEF have accomplished within these 15 years. We have accomplished even more than those universities with 50 years, 60 years. Even if you look at University of Mauritius, my God, we are way, way ahead. So for you students who are at UNICEF, even you hear everything going around in the grapevines, like we say, don't let it bring you down. You are here for you, you will achieve this for you, and then just like Icy says, when you look back, you will say it was all worth it. All right, maybe some people say, it's just a piece of paper. It's not. It's not a piece of paper as long as you give it the value that it deserves. Don't just put it aside and say, I just passed to get the degree. No. You have to make it worth it, put value to it, and whatever you learn, put it into application. Use it in your everyday life. Use your critical thinking, don't use it only on paper. Everywhere you go in the world, in everyday life, you have to put it there in practice. So if I do get another chance, not really a PhD, I already have a PhD, she's 6 years old, she'll be 7 soon. But whatever chance you do get to study at UNICEF, do seize it and make the most of it. We are here for you, we'll be here to support you, and you will make it. Thank
you. Before we end, I would like to say I've witnessed that the University of Seychelles has women on its management. We have Patty, wonderful, Delivet, the registrar, Prema, very dominated women. The whole management is dominated by women, and that's a good step. So before we end, I'll now open the room for discussion for any invited guests to ask the panelists a question. Please raise your hands, and we'll bring the microphones to you. The floor is yours. Honorable question. No one? So with that being said, I'd like to thank the panelists to be with us today, and I'll pass it back to the MC. Thank you.
I would like to express my warmest gratitude to all of our panelists that was present today with us. This was such an inspiration to have you today and to share with us your success stories, and as well to encourage many of these young ladies, young women, to also pursue our career and to never let anything that's negative to bring us down, but rather turn that negativity into positivity. Once again, thank you, ladies. Before we delve into the presentations by Ms. Naomi, let us foster connection and camaraderie with a delightful ice-breaking activity that will involve everyone in the room. I invite each of you to stand up and find a partner, and once you find your match, take a moment to introduce yourselves and share one thing that you admired about that person beside you. Let's spread positivity and appreciation as we continue this memorable day.
Oh, you found your person. Can I find you? Why not? Oh. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy and I'm so proud of you as being a wonderful father. As I said today, you know, your daughters need you. Your wife needs you, your daughters need you even more. You know, they need a proud, strong father figure. And then your father, your son is going to need you even more.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the representative from the British High Commission, spouse, Mrs. Andrea Kiape. Welcome.
So you're giving it
Now that we've warmed up our hearts and minds, let us continue on this enlightening journey with the insightful presentation by Ms. Naomi Vidot.
So we will just continue from where my colleague left. Bear with me while I get through the path. I haven't covered already. So we've heard about and we've looked at some global examples. So quickly, just like when we started, sorry, it is playing up a little bit or it's ahead of me. Sorry, it went ahead of me, excuse me for that. So sorry. I think where I put this up. Let me try again. That was so easy. Was that for me? Okay, just we were talking about investments. We're talking about investments in, and we looked at some global examples. So just to take it home quickly, in terms of some of the successes, and I presented some facts earlier, this is just a review and some additional ones. So access to education is definitely not a concern. We are aware that the literacy rate, and as well as usually females are outperforming males in most of the areas of education. We have 47.7% of females in managerial positions, We have the maternity benefits, because like we talked about, investment is not just in terms of finances, but as well as policies and ways of doing things and saying things. So that's policy where we benefit. And we have the same constitutional rights. So in terms of owning land and all this, it's the same, whether you're a male or you're a female. We have the right to own assets, like I was just giving an example in terms of constitutional rights as well. And we have a national gender policy, which tries to address some of the issues. And there's participation in the political area, as well as access to sexual and reproductive health services, just as an example. But if we remember, if we think back of one of the slides that I had presented earlier, and as well as coming up with the next slide, we have some of the challenges. And the last one I said was access to reproductive health services. But if we look at teenage pregnancy, 15, remember I said earlier that there were a number of births to girls or females yet less than 20 years old. And amongst that, 15 girls under the age of 15 gave birth last year. So for me, that's not just worrying, but it says something about, even if we have access, but what does it mean? And I know we have a lot of issues in terms of some of the policies, some of the laws about how and when access is given to girls to reproductive health services. So that's a concern. And then we have roles and expectations towards women. And my colleague Livia talks a lot about childcare, home responsibilities, which, like I said, is a reflection. We're not saying that this is a bad thing, but it's just a reflection about what are the implications of that. And one of the questions that was raised is, are we striving to be equal to males? Can we be equal to males? And later on, we'll see that there is a difference between equal and equity, which are two different concepts. And perhaps part of the issue is with how we are perceiving the whole situation. Do we really want a woman to succeed in her career, to succeed in her family life, to succeed in everything? Is that even possible? Is that what we would even want? Reflection. Okay. And another challenge, which is sometimes not talked about, is women versus women rivalry and competitiveness. In a lot of instances, it's women who oppress other women. It's not oppression by males, but it's oppression by other women. So that's something to think about. When it comes to managerial positions, we are talking about it's not balanced, but it's because that's what research suggests, because other women in key positions prevent other women from achieving what they have achieved. There's this sense of rivalry, this sense of being threatened by another one, whereby it becomes an even bigger challenge than to be working with males. So these are just, that's what I've read, that's what I've seen, and like I've said, it's just some points of reflection, rather than providing answers or saying that this is what it is or it's not what it's supposed to be. And the last one is about sexual harassment in the workplace, and there's no policies, there's no, both ways, even for males, for females, there's no policies addressing the issue of And quickly, as we wrap up, like we've talked about empowerment. So really, when we look at empowerment, it's a whole process. So it's not a one-off event. It's not something that we can say we've done in one day and it's done. So it's a process, and we can see from the definition. Sorry. I think this would work better now. Okay. So it's a process, and if we look at the highlighted part, so it's acting on issues that are defined as important by the person, him or herself. So it's not just in female empowerment, but both ways, in all the aspects, It's about issues that are defined as important for the people involved. So sometimes when we look at empowerment, we're talking about what is presented and what others or aspire or wish to do for the person. But is the person consulted on what they want? When they are consulted, then we are empowering them. If we are imposing and telling them that this is what you should achieve, then we are not empowering them. So basically, it can challenge assumptions about power and about how things are done, and that is why it is a process, like I've said. And it's sometimes challenging because people do not appreciate or realize that. And it can be at various levels. We can have individual groups or communities that are empowered. And to go back on the concept of do we want equality or do we want equity? And this little diagram just sums it up to show that when we are talking about equality, it's having the same for everybody. So we have the bicycle, it's a standard bicycle, the same bicycle, and they all have to make do with it. But when we look at equity, the bicycles are suited to meet the needs of those who are actually going on the bicycle. And this is, I think, what we would be wishing for rather than having equality. Again, a point of reflection, it's a perspective. Some people can be of varying opinion, but from a psychosocial perspective, this is something that we talk about and we discuss and we encourage people to think of it in another dimension. So this is basically what I've explained, that it's about taking into account personal circumstances rather than saying that, this is the same for everybody and you should all do with what is there. So basically it's acknowledging that the playing field is not equal and acknowledging that there's no one size that fits all. So it has to be different for it to make sense. So basically, in conclusion, if we can just go back to Mali, who was presented at the very beginning, in line of everything we've talked about, everything that we've discussed, ideas presented in the panel and all that, if we are to think of Mali, how really should we be empowering her? She had her aspirations and then she changed based on life circumstances. If she decides that she wants to focus on her child, will there be people who will judge her and say you forfeited your career for your family? But if she decides otherwise as well, if she decides to take her career, there will be people who will judge her. So, and that goes back to what I was saying about empowerment. It's about what is important for the person. If a person decides that this is what I want, an informed decision, taking into account all other circumstances and all other factors, then one way that we empower each other is to respect that, to respect a person's decision in what they want to pursue, what they want to do, rather than imposing that this is what you have to do, this is what you should be achieving as a female, as a male, whatever it is. If we keep having assumptions or values about what it should be, then that defeats the whole purpose of empowerment. So to conclude, this is often a challenge, like we've talked about. So trying to balance both work, home, and really at what expense that happens, that comes to in a lot of instances. To end, this little lady right here, she's got her spade, she's wearing her pretty dress, but she's decided that she's gonna go work in the soil with her spade. That's my daughter, by the way. So copyright acknowledged was my daughter. So how do we invest in her? How do we empower her so that she's not judged for whatever decisions she makes for herself? So thank you very much for your attention. And this is just to acknowledge our sources used for the preparation of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Naomi, for this insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite up front a prominent student from Bachelor of Social Science Honors in Social Work, Mr. Daryl Adolf, to present to us a poem titled Eternal Essence, Ode to Womanhood.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. The title of this poem, as Anya has said, is Eternal Essence, Ode to Womanhood. A title that she herself gave to me because I couldn't find a proper title to fit this poem. As the strong, confident woman that she is, I am thankful for this honor to be presenting her title that she gave to me. Womanhood, a state like no other, a creation that knows no bounds. One that has evolved over countless centuries, it has taken many forms that shows its might and beauty. From mother to queens to goddesses standing tall, this is woman, a captivating tale that shall soon be enthralled. Thou art woman, wise and true, capable of anything you put your mind to. Be it feats of grandeur or simple endeavors, you lead the way in any field you enter, opening doors and lighting the way, revealing the path for those gone astray. You are a woman, brave and strong. You go through much, but face it head on. Trials and tribulations come and go, but through it all, you are always in control, doing things your way and never straying from your goal. You are a woman, elegant and majestic. You are radiant like the sun that shines above. You brighten our world, a light of hope that guides the masses and helps us grow. Greater than any artwork of beauty has found, a raging force never to be bound. Thus is woman, nurturers and leaders, guiding the way for generations to succeed. With love as their compass and wisdom as their guide, they shape the future with passion and pride. Here are women, fearless and free, embodying the essence of strength and beauty. Their spirits unbreakable, their hearts pure and true. Here's to women in all that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl, for this beautiful piece. As our deliberations draw to a close, I wish to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed panelists and all our presenters today for their illuminating contributions, to our esteemed guests for their unwavering engagement. Let us depart with a renewed commitment to championing the cause of gender equality and empowering women to realize their full potential. Together, let us strive to create a world where every individual, regardless of gender, can thrive and flourish. There is no limit to what we as women can accomplish, said Michelle Obama. Thank you for your presence and participation. On this International Women's Day, let us stand united in our pursuit for a brighter and more equitable future for all. We welcome everyone to join us on the steps outside for a group photo. Happy Women's Day.